What up, y'all? All right, story time. So, what I've noticed with the 87-year-old is that, and I've been watching this. We've been downstairs. Uh, Next month will be a year. So prior to that, she was living upstairs, of course. So that's when she was extremely nervous. Which that part I got because the backstory is the short version. My oldest brother, who's a piece of shit, had been indirectly intimidating my mother because she watched him uproot my grandmother when she was living in Columbus to get back at his ex-wife, who was, her and my niece were very heavily involved with my grandmother's life. So so shout out to my ex-sister-in-law, my niece. But he uprooted her, brought her here, and just dumped her and rolled out. Then wouldn't answer his phone. Next thing we know, he's in, I think, Florida. So, whatever. But that nervousness I got. So it took me, she would pack up these survival kits. That's what I'm calling them. She had two of my grandmother's suitcases. And we thought she was just hoarding. But when I looked at them, she had like plastic cutlery. She had packaged cheese and crackers, packaged peanut butter crackers. She had underwear, disposable underwear, all of this. I said, oh, so she ain't as far gone as everybody thought she is. She ain't gone at all. So I moved those out of her room. And it took me a very long time, at least a year, to deprogram the thought of a nursing home. I was like, well, I moved back here, so if you go to a nursing home, where am I going? And I had to promise her and promise her and promise her, even as soon as a few months ago, she ain't going nowhere. And then to reassure her, I think we heard on the news where some of the nursing homes in Southern Ohio are starting to close because of the big obnoxious bill. And those residents are going to places like Cincinnati, Toledo. I'm sure some are going to come here, Columbus, the bigger cities in Ohio. So I said, so there's no room for you unless it's absolutely medically necessary. And then the doctor has to sign off on it. And the doctor already said she's not doing that. She don't send people to nursing homes. It has to be the absolute last resort for her to do that. All right, cool. No problem with me. So we got past that. But then I noticed when we moved downstairs, she would still be up wandering. So I've been watching for months. And I drew my conclusion last week. And now I'm ready to take it to her new primary doctor when we meet her next week. Sleepwalking. I have to read up on it to see what to do. But just now, even after dinner, she was just out of her head. Kind of like when I was still working in offices and I would go have like a good lunch and get back to my desk and couldn't keep my eyes open. Same thing. Because I feed her well. So I noticed it's not sundowners because she does it in the morning or in the mornings and the afternoons. Like today, after she had lunch, we were sitting down watching that ridiculous ass, what's that shit? Hardcore Pawn, the pawn shop show out of Detroit. Detroit. This shit's hilarious. So, and they can't say it's just us being ghetto. It's them white folks being there turning it out. But she started dozing in. I said, that's what it is. And then she was kind of loopy for a minute, then she came back to herself. So it just happened after dinner. So what I figured out was I had her do the dishes and a few other things around the house. And when I go back in, she's going to do some more stuff just to keep her busy. Because I was wondering why after every night at dinner, she would say, I'm ready to go to bed. I said, oh, she got the itis. Okay, she got the itis. So sit tight. Okay, I'm back. So now that I have this information, I'm going to do a little digging later on this evening just to see what to do with sleepwalking. And it's not necessarily walking, it's more her moving stuff when she half asleep. And then can't remember where she put it. And what triggered it was, if you're in Cleveland, you know what a Roman burger is. Well, I figured out how to make them myself. And I had this one little beautiful heirloom tomato, about yay big. that my buddy gave me out of his garden, and it was green, and I sat and watched it for weeks till today it was perfectly right. And I said, that's gonna taste real good on my Roman burger. Her sleepy ass done moved it and can't remember where it is. I was pissed. So I took those crates out of her room so she can't keep hiding stuff like I had to do with the suitcases. And I'm gonna find a damn tomato though and eat it. So that's what I'm gonna present to the new primary doctor next week. But if you know anything about sleepwalking or doing stuff in your sleep or whatever, drop it in the comments for me and educate me so I know what's going on. All right, y'all. Thanks.